Okay, we are live. We are live. So that's always like a question for me. When does exactly go live? When it tells me it goes live or a few seconds before? I think it's a few seconds before that. So then when you actually watch the replay, there's always this gap. So how are you doing, guys, on this Adult Beverage Friday and this Christmas season? I hope you're having a nice, wonderful holiday season and celebrating in some way during the season and buying stuff at the stores that are not phones, maybe computers. You should buy computers instead of phones. So, how are you guys doing? Our topic tonight will be a continuation of this saga on 2FA and just to tell you just how zucked up it is. So, how are you doing, my friends? I can see Cosmic Rose, Wester. Wester wanted me to do a video on how to evade Wi-Fi triangulation. So as I was working on that video, I got some incorrect information from my computer. There's some sort of issue where sometimes the results are wrong, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what the cause is. It seems to happen on Linux. So sometimes it gives the right location, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know what the cause is, and because I'm not sure, I was reluctant to come up with a video on something that was something new I discovered. You know, I use Linux every day right now, and I did not have this experience before because I wasn't trying out the geolocation. So Wester, that is on my to-do list to figure out. I need some time to go research that. Otherwise, I'm going to give you bad information because I actually thought I was solving the problem, and then as it turns out, I was not. So I am going to withhold that since I don't really have a solution yet. So how are you doing, my friends? Natasha, hello, Natasha. Sun Turtle Camper, Alan Wake. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Back from Periscope days here. Kevin Lopez, X Millions. Hello, Marcus, Carl, Steve Johnson. I used to have a co-worker named Steve Johnson. Is that you? Prometheus Unchained. So guess what I'm wearing, guys? Guess what I'm wearing? It's a de-Googled shirt. I've been trying to put this on the Google store, on Google, the merch area underneath the description, and I haven't been able to do that. And I saw it today, so I think it's finally working. So far nobody's bought any of this. So this is a de-Googled long sleeve shirt, and then this is a zip hoodie. So if you're interested in, from a distance, you know, it looks like you work for Google. So they said, you work for Google, and then they come close and say, "Zuck you, Google." So yeah, so these shirts are on the merch store if you're interested in spreading the message in kind of a quiet way. This is not so blatant. It's not very blatant. It's kind of like subtle. They have to come really close to see what exactly you're saying here. So, and they might ask, what the heck is the Googling? So you can see there's a Rob Braxman tech underneath, but very, very light. It's very light colors. It's not heavily visible. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Natasha. So does 2FA work on a de-Googled phone? Yeah, we're gonna answer that. We're gonna answer that. So this is not a long topic, but it's gonna be interesting to see. Just it's like what the heck is Google up to really? I mean, I don't even know what the point is. I know what the point is, and that is to track. So I actually went to the Google security area, and then they list the devices you're logged into. And sure enough, what did I tell you? There's the IMEI. Oh yeah. So if you think I'm lying to you, there you go. Proof again. Sometimes I suspect this. I don't have actual proof. I suspect it, and voila! Once again, I'm correct. The IMEI is on Google security. It says so on there. IP address IMEI. Zuck Google. Zuck. Yeah. or Meta Google. I'm not sure what to say anymore. Zucking Meta. So trust me, they're gonna demonetize this again because I say Zuck. I always get demonetized. Last time I got demonetized. What was the topic last time? Oh, I talked briefly about crypto. I just made some side comment about crypto. They demonetized it. That's why I don't want to talk crypto. And then I had to do manual review. So day later they undid it, but that's where most of the views are in the first day. So then I don't get the ad money because they demonetized for what? Because I mentioned crypto. I don't even know what the big deal is. So anyway, because I'm not pushing it on you. So anyway, the topic is not too complicated, but let me just tell you again to summarize, because some of you are just very argumentative about this. And you don't believe me. I tell you, and people argue with me and say, "Oh no, I was able to do 2FA using hardware OTP, meaning YubiKey." Where's my YubiKey? I have a bunch of YubiKeys in here. I can't find it, but it's over there. YubiKey was my sponsor, so I had some YubiKeys. And somebody said, "Yes, I can do YubiKey. I can do TOTP using Authy and so on. It works. You're full of whatever because you are misinforming us. You're giving us wrong information." It's like, Zuck, stop, people, stop. I'm just tired of this. I mean, I don't say what I say here, without thought. I mean, I put a lot of thought in what I say. And I don't talk nonsense. Lower res camera? No, it's your lower res screen. I'm broadcasting in 4K. 4K live stream. Who needs 4K live stream? Nobody. Nobody needs 4K live stream, but I'm doing 4K live stream so you can examine every pore in my skin. So every everything in the live stream. So anyway, the answer to the Google question is yes. Not all of you are subject to 2FA from Google. Not all of you. They're implementing this in stages. So as you'll find out, I had to remove two-factor authentication from my account in order to solve my problem. The problem was I lost my phone. So we're going to go through that. I lost my phone, which means I had to turn off two-factor authentication. And guess what happens when you turn off two-factor authentication? Just like Google claims, you lose access to sucking YouTube creator areas. You cannot go to YouTube Studio. You cannot upload a video. You can't examine your content. You can't change any comments. You can't do anything, basically. Once you do not do two-factor authentication, you're just a normal YouTube viewer. You can't do anything beyond that. And they actually popped a message on the screen that says, monetizing creators are required to do 2FA. So we are required to do 2FA. We were the first group to do that, to be forced to do that on Google. And then some of you are getting, maybe they're doing the next level now, which maybe those who have YouTube channels, and then next they'll do everyone. So it's step by step. So we're not all there yet, okay? Now, I've told you this, and I've verified this again. I've told you this, just so, we're clear again, that texting is not 2FA. Texting is not 2FA. So if you're saying, well, I'm doing texting right now on my phone, and you gave them your phone number so that Google can track you on your phone, that is not 2FA. They need that. They need that phone. They need to text you, but that is not 2FA. They want more. So basically, to them, 2FA means this. This is the real definition of 2FA. It means, one, you got to have email verification with a backup email, so 2 emails. 2, You got to have a phone number for texting verification. And four, you got to have a Google app. A Google app has to be running. I already told you why. Google app has to get the IMEI. It has to get an identifier on the device that's hardware based. Okay? Until you do that, you do not have 2FA. So that's the craziness of all this. So after all this, Alan Wake says, tough love at 240p. Why are you at 240p? I'm broadcasting at 4K. So it means your signal's bad. Your signal is bad. I'm broadcasting cleanly at 4K. I'm sending 4K right now. I can see it. So, yeah. Look at the replay. Replay will be in 4K. So it's very rare that you can do 4K videos for live stream. Like when I was doing Periscope, you couldn't do that. Periscope was doing like, I don't know, 360p or something. And now we're 4K here on YouTube. Well, they have the resources so they can do that. Yes, also missed it. Yes, I'm wearing a de-Googled shirt. And it says de-Googled, and it's very small text there. It says Rob Braxman Tech. And this is the hoodie version. There's different colors of this. T-shirts, cups, and so on. And Google took it off. They didn't want to display it to you. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't like the fact that I was saying de-Google, and then they approved it again, and it came up again. So now it's back. So now the store is back. No one has bought a single thing. So my question is, do you not like the message? Something, I don't know what it is, but no one is buying it. $50. I don't know. There's different products in there, T-shirts and so on. So anyway, back to our issue, which is the 2FA. So what happens when you are forced to do 2FA? You don't like to do 2FA. What happens? Well, let me tell you how I did 2FA. So what I did was I got a separate Googled phone. Remember the requirements. What did I tell you the requirements are? Email, 2 emails, a phone number, and then finally you need the Google app. So what I did, if you don't have those requirements, all of those, then it's not 2FA. So, and you can't use TOTP. You can't use any of that. They don't let you. Okay, when the real 2FA, they don't let you. It's not an option given to me. It is not on the list. Okay, so some of you say, well, I have it on my list. I don't care what's on your list. It's not on my list. And this is the updated one that affects YouTube creators. So on my list, it doesn't exist. I used to do 2FA using TOTP. I don't have that anymore. It's not on the menu. They hid it from me. Don't know why, but it's not there. Okay? Okay, now, the way I did 2FA, the solution was, listen to this, because you're going to encounter this, guys. If you're in YouTube, you're going to encounter this, and you're going to wonder what to do. So you might as well learn what the hell they're up to. So I had a Googled phone. So I had a de-Googled phone, then I had to get a Googled phone. I had a de-Googled phone. I had to get a Google phone. So standard Android, standard Google Android, which I don't use for anything else. It's typically off. It's one of my used phones here that, I sell phones. So I have a lot of phones. So I took one of those phones. It was a Samsung Galaxy, which I cannot de-Google. So I Googled that. It's a Googled phone, so running standard Android. And then I logged in to my YouTube Gmail on it. You have to have a Google app. And then that showed up on my account, and it says, yeah, that's valid for 2-factor authentication, and you validated with, a phone number. So I had to get a phone number for it, and so on. So how did I get a phone number? I did not Zucking give them my real phone number. So I got I go to ting.com, and they have these cheap SIM cards which you can use for low usage. It's cheap if you're not using it a lot. Like for the casual use that I do it, which is just texting, it can be as little as $10 $10 a month. So that's what I used it for. And my plan was, so I got a new phone number. My plan was to use it for just a little bit, and then I was going to throw away the SIM card and disconnect the service, because Google is fine with just the card without the phone number. So they were fine with that. If I did that, I would be in trouble, by the way. Good thing I didn't do that. I did not dump the SIM card yet, because it was so new and I forgot. I was going to dump the SIM card and change it to another SIM card. Good thing I did not. If I did, I would have been zucked. Okay, so guess what happens, as I told you in the title. I lost the zucking Samsung Galaxy. I lost it. Now, I don't think it's stolen. I think it's somewhere around, I think it fell off my bag. I'm going to my boat like every day, and it's, I checked my boat. It wasn't on the boat. And then I found out that my bag was open, so it could have been, I had a backpack and it could have fallen from the backpack. So I don't know where it is. I haven't seen it. I don't think it's stolen. I don't think, it's powered off. And so I basically went to Google, and then, so I don't know if that's going to work since it's a de-Googled phone, but in any case, the phone is not around. I haven't seen it. I may see it soon, but at the moment I haven't seen it. And then I said, okay, so now what do you do if you have 2FA and your phone is lost? What do you do? Well, okay, so I said, okay, I have another phone. So I have an iPhone 10 that I don't use. So let me just, since I'm not going to use this, let me use the iPhone 10 as my 2FA phone. But it's not Googled. I wonder if they're going to let me do that, because it's Apple. But you install the app gets the IMEI information and all that, so it's probably going to run fine. So I went to the Google app and tried to log into the Google app, and it says unauthorized. Suspicious behavior. So I logged in like, 10 times. Then it locked me out and said, locked you out. Okay. And the only option it would give me was to text. So either I use the Google app, which I can't do because I haven't signed in yet. So it said, okay, then we need to text to your last phone number on the record. Well, guess what? I lost the zucking phone. How the heck do I get the phone number? I went on this loop for days. I didn't know what to do. I said, Zuck. Okay, I lost my phone. I did not have a phone number. I don't have a Google app because it was on the same phone. What do you do then? I was totally zucked. The reason it's really a serious issue is because I lost access to YouTube. I lost access to YouTube. It logged me out. I couldn't get back onto YouTube. And good thing was the day after I uploaded the video when I tried this. But I could not have done the live stream because I wouldn't be able to go back to YouTube. So when I solved this, then that became the title of the live stream. But I said, what the heck? No, you can't do a laptop. No, you cannot do the laptop. I was logged into 3 laptops. No. It actually logged me out of all the 3 laptops. The email's fine, email's working, but I don't have the phone number because the phone is lost. I even went to Google and indicated that the phone was lost. What do you do then? I was zucked. Let me tell you, just totally zucked. So I came up with a solution, and it made me think about this in a more serious way because they are really going to zuck you up. They are really going to zuck you up. If you lose your phone, I don't know what you're going to do. Actually, I was thinking to myself, I was already thinking ahead. They're probably going to do like Facebook. Send us your driver's license, your birth certificate, your this, your that, your passport, all of your information, and then we'll consider if you are really who you are. I can just imagine those kinds of steps happening. So anyway, I thought about the solution, and I came up with an answer, and it worked. It worked, but it kind of raises the question of what is the whole point of this. Okay, so what I did is I went to ting.com again. I went back to Ting, and I activated a new phone. Now, since it's on the same Ting MVNO carrier. So I went to Ting and I said, okay, let me move the old phone number to the new phone. So I used a new SIM card and I said, let me move the old, because I don't have the old phone anymore. Okay, let me move the old phone number to the new phone. So you can do that. So this is outside of Google now. You can see the difficulty with this. So I did that. It seemed to work, but it didn't work. I had to call Ting and they had to go figure it out. And they did something, and because they got confused with why am I doing that. But I called them up or did a chat, online chat, and then they resolved it. And it was fine. So I was able to now receive text on that phone number. And once I did that, then I was now able to select that on the phone and say, text me on the old phone number. And suddenly they accepted that. And then they forced me to change the password. Then I had to change the password on all devices, which means, TVs and everything that has YouTube on it. Like my TV had YouTube on it. Several TVs had YouTube. So I had to go and change all of that. Every single computer that I was logged in that had my YouTube on it. I use 4. So all of those had to change passwords. It's a bit of a pain. And then I had to now activate the Google app on the iPhone, and that now is the primary 2FA choice. Okay, now after going through all this, so now what I did is actually 2 different things. I have 2 phones now for 2FA. 2. The iPhone is for running the Google app, and that's the primary 2FA verification. The iPhone never leaves home, so that's always home. So I said, okay, let me never use the iPhone. That'll just be for backup. If I ever lose a phone, that'll be the backup. It's never going to go anywhere. What I'm going to use for 2-factor authentication will be the phone number, which I put on a Pixel 4 that I had. Okay, so my Pixel 4, my extra Pixel 4 is now my 2FA phone. And that has that SIM card with the phone number. But now it's separated from the Google app. This phone is de-Googled. It was my old de-Googled phone. So the Pixel 4 is de-Googled. But it's okay because it's accepting text. But it's de-Googled. They can't track me moving around with that because that's de-Googled. The one that they are tracking is the iPhone, which never moves. Now, this is why the stupidity of all this. Let me just explain the stupidity of all this. So I told you I signed into how many devices now? 4 computers, 3 TVs, I believe. And so quite a few devices I had to log in. So and then I had to go do email. I used K9 on the computers, which means I had to do K9, log into Google again on K9 on the computers. So that means I must have done 2FA, I don't know, at least 20 times there. 20 times the 2FA. Now, this is the funny part. Pay attention to me, folks. This is the funny part of the stupidity of this whole 2FA business. Google accepted at all times. It offered, okay, do you have your iPhone 10? We're going to send you a code on the iPhone 10. I always said no to that. Always said no to that because I don't carry iPhone 10. I want it texted to my de-Googled phone. So it texted to my de-Googled phone. And in all the cases, I got 2FA validation from texting. Well, if I got validation from testing, what is the zucking point of the Google app on the iPhone 10? What was the purpose of that? Well, obviously, you don't need it for 2FA. The only purpose of that is so they can track your zucking phone. I did not use the iPhone 10 with the Google app at all, where they can see the IMEI and all that. They already got that information, but the phone doesn't leave. I don't use it. They can track it all day. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. I don't use any apps on it. It doesn't get used. I do not use the phone. I do not use the phone at all. So yet they forced me to do that. But it's okay now because look at what happens here. Let's say I lose my current phone number, the one with the phone number. Let's say you lose that phone. Well, it's okay because all I have to do is come home, go to the iPhone, and use the Google app on the iPhone. So I have a now kind of a dual backup. So it's a bad move. I found out it was a bad move to do the verification for Google app on the same phone that you do the phone number. You can see how terrible this is because you're going to have a lot of devices to play these little tricks that I'm doing here. But I don't know how to be safe here. If I ever lose that phone number, you need to make sure you can always recover the phone number, because otherwise, they are like so adamant about capturing this data for I don't know what reason. Well, I know what the reason is. They want to track you. But this has nothing to do with 2FA. This is provided zero 2FA value, because what the Zuck? You're doing 2FA with me and I'm doing texting anyway, which you said is not really 2FA, but that's all I've been using the last 20 times that I did 2FA, was always texting. So what the Zuck? What the Zuck are you telling me that 2FA is not, that texting is not 2FA, but that's all I used the last 20 times, and you Zucking took it, Google. Zuck. Whew. So I'm just trying to prove to you, and I told you I already went to the Google security, and it has the IMEI. Yes, it does have the IMEI of the phone. Check it yourselves. Go to your security and tell me that the IMEI is not Zucking there. If it's a Google phone, it will get the IMEI. It cannot get the IMEI of a de-Googled phone. So on the de-Googled phone, it just has the phone number. It has actually no access to it. There are no Google apps. You cannot run a Google app on a de-Googled phone, so there's nothing there. So I only use it for calling. So I don't know what the solution is. Don't throw away your old phones. They could be useful. Don't throw away your old phones. You don't want a burner here, because if you lose your phone number, you're Zucked. So you have to have an account. And the cheapest way I've found to do this is on ting.com. So yeah, there's a referral code in there that you can use for ting.com. So it's good for like cheap things like this, where you pay, somewhere around $10 a month to maintain a phone number with texting. I know, extra cost. What do? I mean, that's $10 a month. That's more than the cost of a VPN. I mean, a VPN is like $8 a month. And then I got to go spend the money on this is the kind of stuff I got to do. But they can't track me the way they want to track me, because my primary phone is de-Googled. My secondary phone for texting is with a different phone number, is de-Googled. They don't have my primary phone number, okay? They can't track it because that's the one I walk around with. They can't track location, it's de-Googled. My iPhone they're tracking. They can track that all day, it doesn't move. So yeah, and there's no apps running on it. And besides, it's Apple anyway, so they have less information than they do if it's Googled. So that was probably a smart move, is to save your old iPhones. So I think the old iPhone 6 still works with LTE and everything. So if you have a iPhone 6 or newer, save those. They could be useful. So anyway, there's the stupidity of all this. Just to summarize, they forced me to do 2FA. The reality is they accept 2FA using the texting. They never once forced me to do the iPhone with the Google app, even though they captured that information. So all they wanted to do was capture the information. They never really cared to use it. Zuck you, Google. Zuck. I mean, totally useless. Okay, so guys, there. That's my t-shirt. It's on the merch store. Not a single person's bought this so far. So I hope it's not that bad. And there's the hoodie, there's t-shirts, different colors. They're in different colors. There's a women's shirt, there's cups and so on. So there's like different kinds of merch on there. So if you're interested, I appreciate it. It's they give me I think like a $9 or $10 cut depending on the product on each one of these. So it's like you get one of these and you spread. You're getting me a coffee, but more importantly, you're actually raising the question of what it means to say de-Googled. So anyway, appreciate it. Appreciate it. And of course, my last video was about de-Google phones, and that's in my store. I want to make a preliminary comment about. Before I do that, let me just talk about this company, and the company is Linode. Linode has been my sponsor for a year and a half now, I think. Yeah, it was last year summer. So it's been a year and a half. They've been such a great company to work with. They're so easy to work with, but not just because they're my sponsor, but because I actually use Linode. I have tons of servers on Linode. I've actually moved most of my infrastructure to Linode because I'm saving a lot of money. So if you're using some of my VPN services and some of my other services, my email product and all that, they're actually running on Linode. Okay, so I don't just consider them my sponsor. They're actually such a pleasure to work with. Lower cost, excellent support. And they help me even when you guys are doing copyright violations. They support me. They help me, they help me through it. Instead of like kicking me out and say, we don't want you, we're going to kick you out of here because of those copyright violations. They help me. And that's a kind of company that's like saying, we're looking for solutions for you, we're not here to kick you out, and just love it. So anyway, if you want to set up a Linode server on the cloud and you're looking for an ISP and you're thinking maybe you should go to Amazon or Amazon AWS or whatever, don't waste your money. Go to Linode. Best one. Okay, so I actually wasn't affected by the AWS outages. Apparently those AWS outages were on the east. I was in the west region, so no effect. I was only running in west region, so I was okay. So you broke your computer. You got to get a new one. Christmas, buy a t-shirt. Thank you, commentator. Thank you. So is Linode also for backing up pictures? You can do that. You can run Nextcloud. They actually have an option on there. You can install Nextcloud, and then you can run Linode as a Nextcloud server, so that you can do mobile. So you don't need a cloud backup if you can have a backup at home. Maybe you can install Nextcloud at home. But if you can't do that and you need to work in the cloud, then it's better to have it on a cloud server. The real reason for a cloud server is for those with a business. So if you have a small business and you want to share calendars and appointments and so on and contacts for business on business phones, the only practical way of doing that without going to Google and Apple is to use Nextcloud. You can actually do chat conversations and all that all within the Nextcloud platform. So you install that on the Linux server, and I have a video on installing that, and that's something you can do in the cloud. You can install Nextcloud at home, a little bit more tricky because there's no domain, so how do you find it? So it's a little bit more tricky to use at home. If you're a techie, you can do certain things, but for a non-techie, it's a bit of a pain to do. So I'm going to come up with a solution for that soon. Okay, so we don't want Google tracking all the people who are de-Googling the internet. So anyway, my old mantra used to be, what the Zuck? So I had a shirt that says Zuckbook. And nobody bought that. Well, I had a small stock and I sold all of it. But, Zuckbook is very much stronger. So, people think you're swearing. But de-Google is not a swear word, so hopefully it doesn't have that kind of same effect. It's pretty subtle. So, yeah. So Hopefully the message is okay. Do you have a donation page? No, I do not have a. Yeah, I guess you can donate directly to PayPal, or you can do Patreon. I have a Patreon account. Or you can donate directly to PayPal. Do you use any of the Google services? No. Well, of course I do. I'm on YouTube, but not on my phone. The way I do Google services is in a very, very controlled way. I've explained this to you many, many times. It's okay to use Google. Use Google as much as you want, as long as you use it on your own terms, not their terms. So you gotta use. They don't profit if you don't share information about yourself. So I don't share information about myself. So they don't profit from that side. However, they're profiting big on my videos. When I do video, I'm sure their cut is bigger than what they give us. I'm sure they have a very big cut. Maybe it's 2-to-1. So if I make, $1,000 a year, maybe they make $2,000 a year. I'm sure they make a very big cut from the advertising on the YouTube platform. So they make a lot of money from me. But I don't want them to make money off my information. So the only way I use Google on all my devices, which are my laptops, I have a Windows laptop, I have a Linux laptop, I have a Mac laptop. Okay, but most of my work is done on the Linux laptop. In all of these, regardless of the platform, in all of these, I have a browser isolation strategy. And again, to explain this, there's a video that explains this, but to simplify it again, it's very simple. Always have many browsers. Some of you are saying, I only use Brave, or I only use Safari, or I only use whatever. Okay, wrong. Wrong. Okay, use them all. So what I do is, when it comes to Google, I always use Chrome. If they're going to spy on me, they might as well get an easy time of spying on me by my use of Chrome. That way they can really, really spy on me. Okay, so, but the only thing I do on Chrome is Google and Gmail. I don't do anything else on Chrome. And on my Chrome, I go to the websites that I want them to think I go to. So I have it on my favorites, so every day I click on these sites that I go to, that I want them to know that I go to. And so they can profile me all I want, but I'm controlling the agenda. I'm telling them how to profile me. I don't go click on things that have no relevance to how I'm going to get profiled. Okay, so I'm not going to go, just to give you an example, I'm not going to go to any conspiracy theory site. I'm not going to go to any politics site. If it's politics, not going to click on it. Very, very controlled environment. Okay, I only tell them what I want to do, consistent with what I do in this channel. I go to that YouTube on Chrome and watch Linus Tech Tips. I watch Linux videos. Very consistent with that, I just want them to profile me properly, and so that's what shows up on the browser isolation strategy on Chrome. So if I did not pause my Google tracking and I looked at myself and see what I've been doing, you can see that they have a very good profile of me, and it's going to be the way I want them to see me. Now, if I want to do something that I don't want Google to know, I do it on another browser, which is Brave. So I use Brave as my secondary Google, or mostly YouTube browser. If I'm going to do something on YouTube that I don't want Google to see, I go to Brave and do it without logging in. And by the way, I'm always on a VPN, so the IP address is not essential here. Okay, I'm always on a VPN. So for those of you who share the server I'm on, we're all together here. So I go to my second browser, and if I'm, let's say I want to look at guns. I'm not going to look at guns on the primary channel. No, never going to do that. I mean, I'm just giving an example here. Okay, I could have picked any topic, but let's just say guns, because it's something that Google doesn't like. So when I want to look at guns, I'm going to go to Brave without logging in. There's no login. Now, by the way, on my Google account on Chrome, on YouTube, I am logged in. I'm logged in. So there's no doubt that they know who I am, what I'm doing, because I'm logged in. On Brave, I'm not logged in. Okay, and the cookies are always refreshed on Brave, so Brave doesn't store anything, and I use Start Page on one, I use DuckDuckGo on another. It's a search engine, and then, so it's either Start Page or DuckDuckGo on all these browsers. Then I have a third browser, which I use for everything else. So eBay, Amazon, whatever website I'm going to, Braxme, that goes in a third browser. Okay? And so there's separation. So Google doesn't see all these websites I'm going to, because that's on the third browser. The Brave one that I use as my middle one is reserved. It's reserved only for when I need to do something on Google that I don't want them to track. So Brave is best for the non-tracking side. But I want them to track me on the YouTube one. I do want them to track me on that. So that's okay. So I'm on Chrome logged in. So when you tell me that you don't want to use Chrome, wrong. Use Chrome, but only for what you want them to know. Only for what you want them to know. So that's why I don't do politics. You can put the most teasing, commentary on politics on my Chrome YouTube page, and I'm not going to click on it. I'm going to go to Brave and click on it. I'm not going to click on it on there. Okay, so they know that I am disinterested, which I am. I really am anyway. But, I'm going to go on Chrome. So, on Brave. So if I don't want them to know that, they know exactly what I want them to know. And that's, yes, disinformation. That is the actual term. Now, it's not necessarily disinformation. It could be real. I don't really like politics. But I want them to not judge me. And so they cannot judge me when they don't know. So, and I look at the ads that I see. If the ads are starting to get biased towards one side or the other, then I know that I'm failing. So, I look at the ads. If they're balanced, I see some of one side, some of the other, then I know it's good. Okay, what color is your zipper hoodie? Deep royal or navy? This is navy. Yeah, it's navy. There may be a royal too. There may be a royal blue version on there. It's in several colors. So I can choose like a bunch. I chose like a bunch of dark colors on there. So you can choose a different color. There's a red one too. There's a red, like a green one that's kind of a nice green, and let me see. There may be a white one too. You can go check. Did you see my tab container question? Okay, I did. I have not been looking at the comments. But I presume just from your question. No, don't use tabs. Don't use tabs. Don't use tabs. Don't do that. Okay? So use browser isolation. You're not going to be perfect with tabs. They're going to track you. Okay? They're going to track you. That is not. I can do browser fingerprinting on you even with tabs. I tested that already. Okay, but the whole point is you want to be logged in. With tabs, you're gonna be confused. Which tab am I on? Which one is this? Is this the tab with the login? Without the, you're gonna get so messed up. Do not do that. It seems you can run, but you cannot. You can't hide. Yes, Lisa B. That is correct. Couldn't you just search and watch a bunch of political stuff that's opposite of yours? You got to draw a pattern, Dark Lotus, you got to make a pattern. It's not, you can't like do it, once and say, oh, I did that. No, you got to do a pattern because it's all long term. Yeah, so I just checked my account, Google Security, my devices. My S8 does not show an IMEI anywhere. Then maybe you didn't run the Google app because you're not required to do 2FA. They only do that when they require 2FA. So maybe you're not at that stage. I'm at the stage where they require me to do 2FA or I don't have access to my YouTube account. So when they start requiring 2FA, they are going to require you to run a Google app, and in the Google app they will now get the device identifier. There's another identifier, by the way. It's called the advertising ID. So they have that also on Apple. So that's another identifier. So if you don't touch the advertising ID, that will also act as a fingerprint. So I'll give you a little tip here on some of your devices. See if you can reset the advertising ID on some frequent basis, because that's also an identifier. Okay? Advertising ID, see if you can reset that on a frequent basis. You have over 50 Gmail accounts. I have a lot of Gmail accounts. I actually don't remember how many. Not 50 though. I may have, because a lot of them I don't use anymore, but maybe 25. Yeah, a lot of them I don't use anymore. I kind of forgot what they are. So, yeah. I used to be a heavy tab user, but no longer use tabs. Use browser isolation. That's just smarter. Can you use MS2FA app? You cannot use anything with Google that Google doesn't want to use. You can use it on other apps, not Google. Google sets the standard for what they want to use for themselves. Okay? Never click on a link from Facebook or YouTube. Copy the link to a text editor, remove the tracking code before you go to the link. Or Wagon Loads, go run a Tor browser and then pop the link onto your Tor browser. Or just a different browser. Tor browser is probably the best. So if there's a suspicious link, run it on a Tor browser. That's actually a very good use of a Tor browser. I used to do that all the time. If somebody sends me a link, okay, it's suspicious, it's probably a hacking link or whatever, I go to Tor. Then I say, Zuck hacker. So that's the way to do it. I forgot how to get into my Yahoo account years ago. And if you try to get in there, they'll probably say, show us your identification, show us your paper. It's kind of like the Vax ID, What did I tell you about the Vax ID? So I told you that in California, in Los Angeles, and LA County now, so basically everywhere, you go to a restaurant here. Last time I did a rant of this, they were asking for the Vax card. But no, we're beyond that now. We're now at the ID stage. Vax card, ID. Okay, we're now at, I told you this was going to happen, so here we are. Somebody has to look at your ID to go to any Zucking restaurant now. Vax card, ID. Okay, what's next? Telling you right now. QR codes, apps, centralized authority tracking you every time you go somewhere. Coming. Some of you forget this, or may not realize this, but I'm gonna scare you with a reality. COVID is not gonna end. It's not. If you think this is going to end, no, it's not. So whatever procedures are in place now, if you don't fight, these will be the procedures forever. So yeah, don't fight. So some of you say, "Oh, you're Zucking immature. You know what? It's here to protect against Omicron and all this." Yeah, right. Trust me. Ignore what I say. And this is never going to end because there'll be some other variant. They're going to come up with some excuse and they're going to go track you with the ID, and then it's going to be electronic. Yes, it's going to be electronic. I guarantee it. This is going to happen. It's not going to end. Okay, it's not going to end, and that's why I've been giving you a warning that you gotta resist. You can't just accept this. I don't care if you're pro or against vaccination. There's nothing to do with anything. Okay, this is not about the vaccination side. This is about the ID side. Putting your name out there. Okay, so I'm here wearing a Rob Braxman Tech t-shirt here. I might as well just, put in banners, every restaurant I go to, they're going to say, oh, you're that privacy guy. It's like, Zuck. I'm wearing a face mask and it's, oh yeah, you're that privacy guy. Yeah. So, I already get that. But fortunately, I work in an area that where a lot of Google employees work. So none of them watch me. I work in, I work in Silicon Beach, which is, all Facebook, YouTube, they're all in there. So all the people I see, in restaurants and whatever, they're all from the enemy. So they probably not going to watch my channel. So fortunately, they don't care. But some will know me, so it's uncomfortable when they check your ID. So some of you are saying, you're like missing the point. You're missing the point. You're supposed to protect against this variant or that variant. It's like, suck. You protect yourself by doing whatever you need to do for yourself. Get yourself vaccinated if you want. If not, that's your problem. You make your own choices about that. Okay. Pfizer said you need a booster and you're protected from Omicron. Okay, that's one of the news today, right? News yesterday. Okay, so there, you protected yourself. And one of my mentor jazz pianists died. His name is Barry Harris. I've been trying to get Barry Harris to come to my jam session here to teach the folks here in LA about jazz. And Barry Harris died, I believe yesterday. And he died from COVID. And he was vaccinated. So, so the problem is, if you can get infected even if you're vaccinated, I don't even know what the relevance is of the ID anymore, because none of that's relevant anyway. You should just stay home. Just stay home, because I don't know what the point is. So some say it works, but yet you need to get so much proof that you did it, and then even if you did it, it's not working. So I don't know, guys. The problem is the ID, okay? Because in 2001, the Patriot Act was enacted somewhere after 2001 because of 9/11. Okay, so Patriot Act was enacted, and from here on, forever in your lifetime, everyone is always a terrorist. So therefore, you're always going to get all this TSA and all this nonsense everywhere in the world, forever and ever, because of terrorists. Not changing the world's view now that, we're all being tracked now, right? You can't really be a terrorist now and not be identifiable from childhood. Okay? I mean, there's a social media record of every single person. So, your parents take a picture of you, as a baby, and it's all on social media, and they're going to show you as a jihadi, even, in diapers. Jihadi in diapers. That's going to be there forever. So you can't really come around and say, we don't know anything about everyone, and so we're going to have to do Patriot Act and do all this and track everyone in the world because we're going to protect against terrorists. Well, they've gone beyond that now, because now they know everything about everyone. So, yeah, they know everything about everyone. So we're never going to get away from this. This is the the surveillance world is going to be justified because of COVID, because of uh, uh, terrorists, 9/11. I mean, whatever the next excuse is going to be, it's never going to run out. Guarantee you, it will not run out. There's always somebody that wants some zucking control. And this is why I fight for you. I fight for you. This is what I do here. What am I fighting for? I'm not fighting for you to say that you want to get vaccinated or not. That is not my deal. That is not what this is about. I'm fighting this because I know they abuse the information they get. When you're empowering a bunch of servers at a restaurant to have to check ID, I was like, Zuck. Servers at a restaurant are now the police. They're going to check ID to make sure that your vaccination card matches your ID. And it's like, seriously? So they're not going to be able to detect if somebody came up with a fake one? It's like, suck. Yeah, so that's what this is about, guys. You know, the privacy is... it's a big issue. It's not limited to what you think it is. And you know, I talked about the Google phones and all this because I want them to not have the equipment or tools for control. And if they don't have the tools for control, they can't do much. But we enable it. And here we are, people coming at me and trolling me and saying, you're such an immature person for complaining about the Vax card check. It's not about the zucking Vax. It's about the privacy aspect that has now turned into IDs. Just like Zucking said to you, it will turn into IDs. And yes, it has turned into IDs. I said that a few weeks ago. Next, it will turn into apps. How am I going to run an app on a Google phone? And who suffers? The restaurants. What did the restaurants do to deserve this? They're not police. So this is the situation when I talk about all this. I hope you understand the big picture of what I do here. And some of you say, well, I don't have the time and patience. Some of you come to me and say, I don't have the time or patience to do all this. I have nothing to hide. Oh, yeah, go. Exactly. Come up with that attitude and yeah. That's why we are where we are, because people don't care. Well, I don't have time for this. I just got to live my life. Yeah, but this is your life. You're changing the zucking world by accepting it. If you accept this, you're accepting this behavior. So checking IDs will be so automatic that at some point in the future, they'll be checking IDs for any purpose. I don't know what the new purpose will be, but they will be checking IDs until later on you go to any place and you got to put in your little electronic card in so to give you authorization. They're going to say, oh, this is your credit card. We're going to put your money in here too. So this is how you pay. You're going to have a little card, and we'll have your money on there and your credit and everything. But it'll also be your gateway, because it'll be the door key to get into any place. And of course, it tracks you, knows where you're going. And people are saying, oh no, this is nonsense. You're immature. You're immature. This is about protecting you from COVID. Yeah, right. Good luck on that one. You really think this is about COVID? This isn't. We're beyond that now. Papers, please. And somebody actually insulted me on my video when I say papers, please, on that video. He said, "What? Communism? This is communism?" It's like, yeah. I mean, there's no Nazism anymore. I mean, that's gone. But full government control is done by communists. That's, you saw that in China when the COVID first started. They just, shut down, all of their cities with police everywhere and stopping you from doing everything. So there you go. And you let them do this. So, rather than just saying, do it like any normal thing. If you get a flu, you get a flu shot. If you want, it's your choice. If you want, want to get a flu shot for all the other diseases, and you go get them if you want. And you're encouraged to get them. That's fine. Go run ads to get people to do that. And there's no bad taste in your mouth if you're seeing, consistent messages that say, okay, you need mumps, rubella, and all those standard childhood vaccines, polio, this, that, and you say, yeah, this, do this, because then we can wipe out the disease. Okay, you see that in ads, and and a good number will decide the proper way from that. But the problem with the new way now is we're being forced, and that's creating a negative reaction because people don't like being forced. People like to make their own choice, and the more they force, the more the other side, whatever other side means in this context, meaning the opposition to whatever is being forced, they don't like it. And the thing is that there were some people who made comments on my videos that saying that when I make these kind of comments, and I'm attracting the QAnon crowd. It's like, what the suck are you talking about? What the zuck are you talking about? Doing something like that, that's an ultimate insult to just blanket say that everyone who has any opinion against the opposition is crazy conspiracy theories, which is the suggestion being QAnon. Okay? That's the way they just invalidate you and say, oh, you're just QAnon. We don't want to pay attention to you because you're just QAnon. It's like, Zuck you. These are legitimate concerns that free people can say. This has nothing to do with even any political side. Nothing to do with any political side. We're going to just, go put you in one bundle and call you all, conspiracy theorists, which conspiracy theorist is another term which is meant to diminish you. People say, conspiracy theorists because they want to diminish you because, they want to consider you to be a nut job. Thank you, John Vilhar. Thank you. But it's, can you review blockchain VPN? I don't recommend anything blockchain for your data. Don't do that. Blockchain is immutable. So why do you want to trace an immutable trace? That's what blockchain is, immutable. Don't mix it with privacy. That's the opposite. So in any case, that's what I'm trying to tell you is that my battle is not a political battle. This has nothing to do with politics. It's about the fact that, this kind of information that they use on us can be used for any purpose. And all I want is for people to choose and do not label people on either side in some blanket way if they have a legitimate concern. Instead, why don't you listen to the fucking concerns of the people on either side and say why they choose one side or the other? Why do you insult them by saying, "Oh well, they must be dumb"? Oh well, what's the comment typically said in the news that one side is typically made up of college graduates and the other one is not? I mean, that is just utter stupidity. Okay, so that's how they're going to judge you. They say, well, the ones on one side are all college educated, and the ones on the other side are less college educated. I don't buy that. So it's like saying, oh, it's the dumb people are choosing one side versus the other. If you actually listen to people, I actually, have friends who choose to get vaccinated and people who choose not to get vaccinated. And it's interesting to hear, what their take on it and why they're very concerned about it. And you can see some of them have very legitimate reasons. For example, just a very basic one, an allergic reaction. They have an allergic reaction. I mean, they have no fucking choice. So it doesn't work for them. So, so now they're going to be labeled as QAnon because they happen to be allergic. It's like, come on. There's just a lack of intellectual rigor in some of this, and the privacy question. It relates to, I told you, the ID side. This is really what's been bothering me, and it's happening now. It's going to the next step, and then it will go to the next step. So now here in LA, yes, not just vax cards and ID. Okay? Can't go anywhere now, including LA County. By the way, I don't know if you're familiar with the way Southern California is laid out. Okay, Southern California is very interesting. So there's, let me just lay out the county. So the northern part is Santa Barbara County. So that's the northern part of Southern California. And there's Ventura County, that's the next one. Then Los Angeles County. And then below Los Angeles County is Orange County. So Orange County is, Newport Beach, all of the beach towns down there. Seal Beach, is all this these areas in Orange County, Laguna Beach, that zone there. I'm in LA County, and LA County has now followed the rules of Los Angeles City of Los Angeles. So now I don't even have a choice. There are many cities here in Los Angeles County. Some are not part of the city, but now they're all the same. They're all requiring IDs and the vax card. Well, a week ago or so, I went to Orange County. And you go to the malls in Orange County, you are not required to wear a mask. You go to a restaurant in Orange County, they don't check anything. They don't ask a single thing. There's nothing. You go to anywhere. I mean, it's like they have a thing there and it says, if you're unvaccinated, please wear a mask. Nobody enforces that. It just says so. It says though on the entrance, if you're not vaccinated, wear a mask. That's the only thing they ask. I'm going to tell you, I thought I was in Zuckbook, Texas. Orange County is beautiful. Orange County is beautiful. That is love that place. That is awesome. So I tell you, I felt like I just traveled to Texas. And it's only an hour away. And I felt like, oh, I'm in Texas. Awesome. So anyway, now that's just in case you come to California and you say, I don't want to visit California, it's calm here. Go to Orange County. It's fine. Orange County is good. So, I love Orange County. LA County are enforcing. What are you talking about? They just, maybe the sheriffs are not enforcing, but the restaurants are, because the health inspector will enforce it. Guess who the health inspector is for LA County? The city of Los Angeles. So they don't have a choice. You escaped to Texas. So yeah, you escaped to Florida. So yes, chip next. That's what I'm telling you here. So this is not about vax, guys. This is about the chipping of the world. This is what this battle is about. It's about the chipping of the world. And I am so glad I have the Google phone. I told you, even for 2FA purposes and all that, I told you that Google snuck into my phone and was tracking me, but it's the Google, so all they got was an IP address. So it's like, Zuck you, it's a VPN. So yeah, Google, yeah, good luck with that. You are 100% right, sir. The kicker bear. Oh, I don't want to get into a problem with Google on that one. YouTube. So yeah, so I'm not here to talk about the politics of this. I'm just trying to tell you, but enforcing these kind of rules about ID cards and all that will eventually hurt any side, depending on who's in power. It hurts one side or the other. It will change. So right now, the people on the side of big tech are saying, hey, this is a good thing. And trust me, that's going to turn around and it's going to bite you in the zucking butt. Okay? So, politicians always, say, we're going to change rules. We're going to go stack the Supreme Court. We're going to do this. We're going to get rid of filibuster and all this political maneuvering, not thinking that the tables will turn someday and you are not going to like the results. You don't want to change something like that for short-term politics. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with some of these issues with ID cards and all this. This is not about politics, because in the short term, you may think this is doing good. In the long term, this is incredibly bad. Incredibly bad. Okay? So that's my long-term comment here, is that we need to fight this. You need to resist. And this is not resisting about the politics. This is just resisting the overreach. Resist the overreach of collecting information. Let us make all of our choices. Especially when it's been shown that those who have very strict rules and those who do not have very strict rules don't have much of a difference in infection rates. They're about the same. So what do the strict rules do? Look at California versus Florida. What's the difference? Not much. For all what we have to go through here in Los Angeles County. So, anyway, just resist. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Glenn Beck must be watching my channel. Glenn Beck watches my channel. I don't think so. Joe Rogan does. Joe Rogan stated that he binge watches my video. So, at least I know he watches. I have a follower who's a politician in New York, and I just saw him. He's a musician too, musician and politician in New York, and he subscribed to me. A liberal politician. You see, my stuff is not about politics. My stuff is not about politics. It's about freedom. Thought on Australia. Oh my gosh. My poor man. Or woman. Oh gosh. I really feel sorry. I've been watching Australia for many years. Because I've had friends from Australia following me since Periscope days. For 7 years now. I've been watching. I sold my first Brax routers in Australia. And I discovered that they were doing proxy servers in Australia, where they actually, it doesn't matter they use a VPN or any of that. The browser proxy is built into the Telstra modem. They actually put the spying device on the modem. This is Australia for you. The zucking modem. And these are like nationalized companies. The zucking modem has to spy stuff, which means they can see what websites you're visiting. Somebody can track all that. And then when you go to the airport in Australia, they can check your phone and check your social media. Oh my gosh! I mean, uh, no wonder I have so many followers in Australia, and I'm so sad for my friends in Australia who have to go through all this. Unfortunately, I cannot ship the Google phones in Australia right now. Ever since September, because of COVID, because of all the strict rules in Australia, I am not able to ship to Australia, which makes me feel so bad because I was shipping so many phones in Australia before September. I think I shipped actually a batch right at the end, at the beginning of September, and I actually fell under the after the deadline, and I was expecting the phones to come back, but I guess they didn't come back, so they pushed it through, and then I can no longer ship to Australia, so it's uh, until this COVID stuff recovers from there. So I don't know, but it's really really sad, and uh, I think that Australia wants to be the leader in surveillance. The UK has always been like up there and on top when it comes to surveillance, but New Zealand and Australia want to be number one, and number one and two. Okay, so number one and two will be New Zealand and Australia. They want to be the top surveillors of the population. So as beautiful as Australia and New Zealand are, and I watch all these sailing videos from people from New Zealand and Australia, and I am just, my gosh, I would feel like I feel like locked in that kind of environment. I'd feel locked. I'll feel like I'm working in, I'm like in a dictatorship when I was a kid. Exactly that feeling. So, so sad. So anyway, we're done. So anyway, that's just I'm I feel sorry for the people in Australia and New Zealand because it's the same in New Zealand, and but people have to wake up, and they're not waking up. They have the protection of the Queen. Well, since the UK is very known for surveillance, what protection are you talking about? So, yeah, I like my freedom way too much. What they call viruses are just pieces of broken. What Canada, of course, wants to do the same thing, but it's not there yet. The level of surveillance in Canada is still better than the U.S. when it comes to surveillance. The U.S. is the worst, but Australia wants to beat that. So Australia is nothing comparing with China. China is a communist country, so there's not really a comparison. But Australia is supposed to be a democratic country with democratically elected officials. So how does it become this kind of government that just wants to control everything and every person and track everything that everyone does? How did that happen in a non-communist country? It's really weird. I expected it in a communist country, of course. So yes, in China I expect that, but Australia, and it's just been going that way. Don't understand why. Just don't understand. It's just you don't like this world, Natasha. So yeah, I'm just here to alert you and get you thinking that these are not good things happening to us, and if it doesn't change, if people laugh at me on YouTube and in real life, in the real world, and say that I'm just a conspiracy theorist and I talk all this weird stuff, and that there's nothing in danger, you have no danger by having all these spy phones, then this world will collapse for sure. We'll turn into something worse than Nazis. Okay, what the justification for the Nazis, same kind of thing will happen, and we're gonna lose control because this is kind of a global thing, and there won't be freedoms, And that's what I'm trying to get away from, because, I felt that I already experienced that as a young kid, and I don't want you to experience it, to feel like if somebody hears what your thoughts are, you're going to go to jail. So that's my childhood. If I hear people talking about anti-government things, it's scary that you think they're going to go to jail. What if my parents were talking anti-government things, and they were? Does that mean they would go to jail? I mean, think about that for a young person to be experiencing that, and seeing people disappear because they said things that were anti the dictator at the time. When you start to see that and you start to say, wow, imagine if the government knew every thought. Well, they do now. That's why you have these phones. That's why I'm trying to teach you not to arm them with that data, because you don't want them to have data that says, I know what you're thinking. So you don't want them to have an idea what you're thinking. If they don't know what you're thinking, they can't judge you. They can't do anything. I mean, just be quiet. Live your quiet life. Some people say, I have nothing to hide. I'm just a quiet guy. That's exactly what you think. But if you have an opinion on politics or anything, they know that. Living a quiet life doesn't exempt you unless they don't know what you're thinking. And that's what we want to do. We want them to not know what you're thinking. And the only time they will know is at the ballot box during elections, and they're not going to know where it's going to come from. That's what you want them to know, is the final result, not what you're thinking, so they can manipulate you and change the information to change your vote or change your ideas. That's what you're trying to do, is not to let them know. This is what this is all about. And people are saying to me that what I talk about is nonsense and it's unimportant and we have to live life. And it's like, Zuck you. This is life. Freedom is about life. Freedom is life. Life is freedom. And if you don't feel like you need freedom, then you don't need life. So it's like, okay, we might as well put you in jail. So anyway, that's I'm running out of time here. So I make sure I see a few comments from other people here. Australian law is mandated from the District of Columbia, which is not going to read any of that. Interesting. So, yeah. So Steve, don't use the name of three-letter agencies. I'll give you some alternate words. The National Zucking Agency, the Zucking IA, the Zucking BI. Use those initials. Don't use the main initials, because they're gonna get blocked. Okay. Although I don't block four-letter words apparently. Okay, so there's an automatic block on three-letter words, three-letter agencies. Okay, so so just know that's intentional. I preset that. Google will often take off comments without me doing anything. The only things that I take out are three-letter agency comments. Australia uses VPN with their own servers. I'm telling you, Australia runs proxy servers. All of your web searches and everything. The fact that you go to YouTube, what YouTube channel you watch, that goes to their proxy zucking servers. Zucked up. I told you, David, do not say that, even if that's the book. I gave you the alternate initials, National Zucking Agency. NZ. Zebra A. Yes, I have that book. But don't type those. So there's a reason for that. That's the different side of things. That's not really the topic tonight, but that's a different side of things. Yes. Can you explain a proxy server? Proxy server is when you go on a website, the website is cached on another server in between, which used to be done to speed up the internet. They used to do that to speed up the internet, but what they are able to do, if they pass every person through a proxy server, they can see what websites you all go to. So that's the, and if a government forces you to be on a proxy server, as they do in Australia, for a big chunk of the population, that's pretty strange, especially if they build it into the hardware. I was shocked when they built it into the hardware. You can use Tor. It won't matter. The Tor browser exits to the proxy server because it's on the hardware. So it doesn't matter that you're using Tor. It will exit out to the proxy zucking server. Crazy. VPN is Bytes VPN, which is my VPN. Mail is Brax Mail, which is my mail. Fonts is the Google Fonts, which is on my site. And VPN routers is Brax Router, also on my site. So I got all these products that you can use. You don't have to go search for other ones. Because don't you want to get a product that comes from somebody with a real face? Do you actually know who Mr. Nord is? Did you ever meet a Mr. PIA? Name me the VPN. Tell me who they are. Who actually runs those? Do you know that a VPN is all about trust? So you're trusting all of your traffic to Nord and PIA and all of these guys. Forget all their names. Express. All the different Google is a VPN now. Even Symantec. No, I guess they don't call themselves Symantec anymore. They call themselves Norton VPN. Do you actually trust these people? Okay, so I have a VPN. I have all these products, mail, and all this too, and I own it. It's my company. Okay, so you don't have to wonder who owns this. Is this owned by some secret, conglomerate, which they all are, owned by some secret conglomerate? No, they're not. It's owned by, Mulvad, whatever. Is there a Mr. Mulvad? Come on. Even all these antivirus. Is there a Mr. Avast? Mrs. Avast? Miss Avast? Is there a Mr. Kaspersky? There may be a Mr. Kaspersky. I actually don't know. Maybe there is one in Russia. So you want some Russian guy? IP Vanish? Oh, Mr. IP Vanish. Want to use that? Okay, so Bytes VPN is just me. That's my company. It's on the BraxMe site. Rob Braxman, BraxMe. So it's on the BraxMe site, all the products on the BraxMe site. So, So there is a Mr. McAfee, but he's not involved. He hasn't been involved with the antivirus for what? 20, when he was alive, 20 plus years. More. When did he, I think his last involvement with the antivirus was probably in the 90s. So anyway, you're here to go to get Braxed. So anyway, just think about, some of the stuff that I offer instead of looking at, asking me what VPN you should use. And then you're going to ExpressVPN and NordVPN and PI and all these conglomerates owned by many of them are owned by companies that do the tracking. They're actually owned by the same people you're trying to protect against. Well, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just a small company here. Okay, so anyway, thank you for watching, my friends, and I hope you just keep going with this Christmas season and have time to party and all that. My next video is going to be teaching you about phones. So I will explain, just some basics about the phone. You know, why does certain phones work? Why does certain phones don't work? What is you know, what's in there? Why does it not work with Verizon? What are all the spy stuff that's in there? I'm going to teach you that in my next video, which is about how your phone works. So that'll be the next video, which will come out in the middle of next week. Thank you very much, my friends, and thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next week. We're going to be right on schedule doing this next week. Good night. Bye-bye.